I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jackie. Welcome back to Dumb Witch Club. Why are we laughing already?
It was loud.
It was loud. I know, it was startling.
It hurt my ear.
Oh, it's okay. You're fine. You can be fine.
I'm fine. It just did, and then it made me laugh, and then I was like, I have to say my line, and then I laughed.
And then if you laugh, I immediately
I know.
must laugh.
And I try not
laugh.
to look at you, but then I do, and then you're like...
I know, it's really bad. We're very contagious with one another.
If we had to act on a show, they'd fire us.
No, we could never do that.
They'd be like, you are wasting so much tape. We can't pay you.
I know.
Because you're wasting everyone's time.
Yeah, they're like, we'll pay you, but then you will owe us for everything that we had to fix because of you. You're like, crap.
We quit. You can't fire us.
Oh, I love that.
I know.
You can't fire me.
You can't fire me. I quit.
I quit. Oh, that's such a power move.
Yeah. I've done that.
Ooh, in real life?
I've done that.
IRL? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Stupid little part-time jobs. I'm like, you're not going to fire me. I quit. This place sucks.
Yeah. It probably did suck.
It did suck. It totally did.
But they didn't deserve you.
No. And I cried in the car, but in the moment, I was like,
doesn't matter.
You thought I wanted this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
No, you have to cry in the car after. It has nothing to do with it.
No, you have to cry in the car, routinely. Right?
Yes.
Just me?
No, I cry in the car all the time. Not as much anymore, but I always have. Anyways, okay. New sign. Who dis? Pisces.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. And that also flowed directly from the tear conversation, which I feel is very appropriate.
That's so on brand.
So on brand.
We're so on brand with this.
We're always channeling the energy, I feel like.
We are.
Especially once we get started. And we've been talking Pisces all day.
Yeah, we have.
All day.
It really does help to, get in that flow.
So much flow. So I think we both will acknowledge that Pisces energy is some of our favorite energy.
It really is. I know we're maybe not supposed to admit that. Or
play favorites.
Or play favorites or whatever, but I'm sorry. Has to be said. It is. I vibe with Pisces energy so much.
I love Pisces energy as well. Yeah. And I feel like you have more of a... astrologically logical explanation for yourself.
I think so too.
I have no such. I'm just kind of although I do have one theory on it.
Oh.
My theory is that my Venus is in Cancer.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm just
yeah.
I just,
Yeah, you love and you're watery.
Yeah. And it's all in that space of the creativity and the flowing and the nature, not the nurturing. There we go. I was going to say naturing, but that's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
And
it could be a thing.
The opposite thing. I mean, maybe it is a totally different thing, going outside in nature.
Yeah, and putting your feet. What do they call that when you put your bare feet? They call that something.
Yeah.
It's not grounding.
No, well, it is, but I think it also has another name.
Yeah, there's a name for it. I forget what it is.
I feel like Pisces would like to do that.
They would.
They would.
They would. I mean, they would like to do any kind of experience.
Yes.
They just want to experience.
100%. So it's naturing and nurturing then.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's true. I know. I feel like this whole episode we're going to be oh my God. So good. Mm-hmm. So lovely. I know. I know. Love Pisces energy. Just love it. It's so beautiful and deep.
It is beautiful and deep.
I know. And I feel like Pisces get hated on, not as much as maybe Scorpio, aggressively, we've talked about.
No.
But I feel like Pisces are super misunderstood.
They are.
And a lot of people, it's don't have time for it. People are I don't have time for that.
100% true. And we were talking about that at one point. And it's so true. It's not the same type of hatred. But I hear it a lot when Pisces gets brought up, or people, say, I'm a Pisces. Or, yeah, it's this. Ugh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm how can you feel that way?
I know.
Could never be me.
No, I think what it is, I don't know. I think what it is that it can seem, sometimes it can seem sort of tiring because Pisces really are so much in, in their heads, but sort of so expansive in the world.
Yeah.
And they're kind of always going there. It's really hard for them to come down.
It is.
And I think a lot of people can just be can we talk about something real and pragmatic and not just about all this lulu la la stuff?
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, oh, I love that.
I know. I love Lulu Lala.
I know. I love that too. Is that a doll? Is that a doll or a toy? It should be.
It also sounds like a mid-level, like, man, like, what is it? Like a
market pyramid scheme. Here, sell my Lulu Lala.
Lulu Lala has changed my life.
Oh my God. I started out as a consultant and now I'm a director.
And I have a pink car.
Yeah, totally.
I want a pink car. But...
Also, a Pisces would never join a pyramid scheme.
No, they would know better.
No, they would know better. So, okay, let's name some facts about Pisces. So,
facts.
The Pisces season is February 19th, generally through March 20th. Mm-hmm. So, we are coming off of Aquarius, getting ready to go into Aries, which, as we've talked about with a lot of the signs, like thinking about what other sign energy the one sign is bridging between. Right. Mm-hmm. Gives you a lot of insight into what that sign is about. So I feel like bridging that energy from Aquarius to Aries, it's a huge, huge leap.
It really is.
And it takes Pisces energy to fill that whole gap.
It does. They're like the middle child between the two of them.
I know.
But they do such a good job.
But I feel like Aries is the older child.
Yeah, it's so true.
And like Aquarius is like the baby.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so accurate.
I know, but it's also like the opposite of like, anyways, the real like age. But
it is,
you know what I mean, though?
I do know.
Because Aries is like, I'm in charge of everything. And Aquarius is like, what?
And Pisces is like, okay, all right.
Everybody.
This is okay and that is okay and it's all okay and we're going to just...
calm down. Chill out.
And then they're like, wait, what were we doing?
Yeah. And they're like, so you guys are good, right?
Wait, so you're fine. Wait, what were we deciding?
I know. So that's the Pisces season. That's when the sun is in Pisces during those times. As we, I think, either said or alluded to, Pisces is the 12th sign in the zodiac. It's the last sign in the wheel, which is not the last sign in our new sign Who Dis series because we started with Libra, which we were just discussing also was sort of unfortunate. But so we will be keeping on.
Yeah, so we'll keep going.
Yes, after this. But, okay.
Yeah.
Mutable water
night energy.
Yeah.
It's lovely. You know, we always say that it's like,
nice.
We always say, oh, what an interesting, it was so fascinating, right? And we always say that, and then we always say that.
Because we always do.
We always say that. And then we always say that it's always true. But honestly, for this one, it's less fascinating, and it's more, that makes a lot of sense. It's not unexpected. I mean, a mutable water sign, that makes perfect sense.
It is so, like, holistic.
It is.
It's like, oh, of course it is.
Of course.
You imagine, like, just this night sky and a body of water.
Yes.
And just, like, little...
flowing.
Yes, just flowing and going. And like, you know, like at night, if you like are at the ocean, if it's really dark, if it's dark enough, you can't really tell where the sky and the ocean.
Oh yeah, the horizon.
Right, because it's lost because it's so dark and the ocean, the water's so dark. I just feel like that's exactly what this Pisces energy is. It's just this kind of blurring of everything.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Wow.
It's really, I know.
I love that.
I know.
Yeah. It makes sense. It's less like, wow, what a fascinating combo, and more like, yes, it all comes together.
Yeah, there's sort of a thought or a theory that Pisces energy, being the 12th and final sign of the zodiac, actually incorporates all of the variety of all of the other signs.
Yeah, it's a blend. It brings together all of them sort of like in a culmination. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like everything that's been accumulated and learned and evolved over that zodiac wheel, which is kind of that lifespan concept. It's like it's all there at the end.
So maybe if you have a problem with Pisces energy, you haven't learned what you need to.
I think that's very true.
And then I think, it's fighting words, but...
Well, and a lot of people shy away from their 12th house.
They do.
And that's the house of Pisces. And
they do. Because, I mean, in some ways I don't blame people because of the way that it's presented in astrology. Like, it's so, like, like, you know? Or it's, like, so, like, weird and nebulous, and people are like, what does it actually mean? Which I guess we could actually... We've done a houses... episode, but I guess we could go
DWC
more.
Cribs,
DWC
go watch,
Cribs.
go listen.
We mentioned so many things in that episode.
We got really weird at the end with the Aquarius and Pisces stuff.
We really did. Like we said, we match the energy whenever we're doing this.
I know.
Yeah, we totally did with that. So if you need more info, go back and watch that. And then, like, I don't know, we'll probably get more detailed into the houses at some point.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. For sure. Especially if we can talk about Pisces energy.
Exactly. We're so, like, in love. Pisces love.
They do love. I know. And if someone is lucky enough to have a Venus in Pisces.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, so lovely. And Venus is in Pisces now, as we already talked about. So
yeah, like multiple times.
I know. We are sort of obsessed, I feel like.
Yeah, a little bit.
I know. But whatever. It doesn't matter.
It's okay.
So like I was kind of saying with the water and the night and the mutable energy and kind of the ocean and the sky, that sort of image that I've mentioned for each of the signs is actually the ocean for Pisces.
Yeah, that makes so much. It's deep and
expansive.
And
it's everywhere, and you don't even know what's down there. And just to sort of contrast with the other water sign that we've covered, which was Scorpio, and then that water image was like a melting icicle. Yes, exactly. So just really sort of seeing the contrast of, yes, they're both water energies, but just how different they embody that.
Yeah, I love that. And then obviously the symbol is the two fish that are swimming in sort of opposite directions.
Yes.
Which to me, and I know this isn't like an original idea, but like when I see that, why am I doing that?
I love it. I'm just watching your hands and I'm like, ugh, I love it.
They're swimming.
I love it.
They're swimming like that. I feel they are. And I feel like, because a lot of people talk about how like they're going in opposite directions, which, yeah, I mean, they are, but it's like a symbiotic thing.
Yes.
It's like all balanced and working together. It's not fighting. I mean, I suppose it could be, but like it feels more like it's meant to represent that it's like this balance.
Yes, and I also feel like they're like, I don't know why, they're like swimming in a circle.
Yeah, I do.
Like with each other.
Right, exactly.
Like in a loop almost.
Exactly. It's not like one's going this way and one's going that way. It's they're like, yeah, that's how I think
so they're like exchanging places and sort of having like reciprocity about that, right?
Yes, that's how I think of it.
Okay.
And
yeah,
again, I don't think that's some kind of original idea that no one's ever said, but
I think it is.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is, because if you don't see it anywhere else, then maybe it is.
Well, I know. And I feel like a Pisces would say there are no original ideas.
Yeah.
And yet they have original ideas.
All the time.
Yours aren't, but theirs are.
Yeah.
Because they've thought about it way more than you have.
That's okay. I concede.
That's totally fine.
I'll concede to it.
Give anything up to a Pisces.
Exactly.
I'm like, whatever
That's
you
fine.
say. Whatever
you can have
you want.
it. Whatever you want to do.
I know. Oh, I feel like this goes, as usual, like off into a different direction too. But I feel like the Aquarius Pisces cusp.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorite cusp energies too. It's just so interesting and so amazing. And so at some point we'll be doing like cusp episodes. But
it's a great one.
It's a really good one. Yes, for sure.
So much good creative, like out there energy.
Yes,
I love
just
it.
weird.
I know.
And visionary and cool.
So cool.
But cool in a way that, because the Aquarian cool is very detached.
Oh, yeah.
But the Pisces cool is like, I am one of you.
Yes.
You are one. We are one, you know?
And I so feel that. Because, and the Aquarius kind of has that too. Like you said, it's similar. They're humanitarian in that way, but it's a detached version of it. And then Pisces is like the like, I'm part of this and we're all one and I'm in it with you kind of thing. Which is probably why I stan
Pisces.
Yeah.
I know.
We both do.
Oh.
All the Pisces watching this are like, yeah.
I know.
They're like, they finally got to get
But also everyone that's like married to a Pisces is like, oh, really?
Really?
But are you married to one?
Yeah, exactly. They're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So despite all of our effusive love, what's difficult about Pisces energy?
Well, yeah, there is difficulty. I feel like they face difficulty, which I have a lot of patience for, but I can see people struggling with it because they're struggling themselves. I think Pisces are very psychically oriented.
Yes.
They're very spiritually oriented. They have a lot of natural gifts in that area, a lot of like clairvoyance and just a way of seeing beyond and seeing through the veil. And even if they don't know that, or they can't point to that, or they haven't cultivated it or worked on it for themselves, it's there. And so I think there is a deep sense of being different and misunderstood.
Yes.
And so they not only have a hard time relating to other people, I think they have a hard time relaying their feelings and their experiences and what they're going through, because other people are like, what are you talking about? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know?
They're like, I thought you knew. I thought this was like, and it is. It's so like quintessentially human. But I think that's why it's rejected by a lot of people.
That's so true.
And yet Pisces are like, I can't help it. Like, I'm having these experiences.
Yes. And I think it's sometimes easier for them when that's going on to just detach and dissociate.
Yeah, and I think that's why they can even be sort of secretive or very hidden with themselves and others, because it's like almost like it becomes dangerous for them to share this of who they are.
Yeah, and like to, a certain extent, I think a lot of people will identify with that because, again, Pisces brings everything together, right? Like all of the elements together. So it's like everyone will see themselves mirrored in that in some way.
Yes, whether you want to or not.
Which is probably why it upsets people. But then it's like people like us who, had similar experiences and felt kind of misunderstood about things like that when we were younger and even as an adult, and who are interested in sort of esoteric and obscure ideas. I mean, it shouldn't be obscure, but it is. Or just, the occult or whatever it is. Like, we just, I don't know, we identify with that. So we're like, we get it. Yes. And they're like, you do.
I know.
You do. I found my people.
Yes. Yeah. No, for sure. And I think that, so another sort of like we've talked about before, skillful and unskillful presentations of Pisces. So I think when I was asking about like what's difficult, it's like we're getting to that unskillful category.
Yeah.
So I feel like they can be, like I was saying, sort of secretive and sort of hidden. They can also be like kind of vague and very drifting and not non-committal in the same way that another sign like maybe Libra can tend to have trouble with decision making.
Yes, right.
It's not like that.
No.
It's more just this flowing sense of just kind of like, I don't know. And you were saying something earlier when we were talking about this, about how sometimes if you say something to a Pisces, they might like agree with you and then like, so just say that again.
Yeah, and I think that is maybe like the chief complaint that I hear from people, or the frustration that I hear from people about Pisces energy is that, they're like, they agreed with me, and then the next day it was like a completely different opinion.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't mean to be contrary to you.
Right.
They don't mean to be contrarian. It's not to argue for argument's sake. They genuinely can flow from one idea to the other, and from one sort of, they really can just embody that. And so it can be frustrating to people who have a little bit more of like a fixed energy.
Good point.
Or a
Good
pointed
point.
energy. Yeah. And
good
they're like, what happened here? And I can see that, but they don't mean to do that. It's just that they're very easily able to kind of adapt and mirror all these different things.
Yes. And then if they thought about it more between the points, or if they read something or heard something, that they're so open-minded.
Yes.
That it's not like, you said they're not argumentative or contradictory or contrary.
No.
It's more just like, well, I thought about it more and now like, this is what I think.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't really take things like that personally. It's not like a personal affront to them, but it feels like a personal affront to certain other signs, I think, more than others.
I think that's why Pisces are also like, why are you taking this personally?
Yeah, it's not about you.
I'm like, I wouldn't take that personally, so why are you?
Yeah, and it's like, well, you can be taking that personally, but what about the other person on the other side of this argument? Like, can you not put yourself in their shoes? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
And Pisces is like, well, I can.
Well, and not only can I, but I can't help but.
I can't help it. Yeah, exactly.
I know. I know. Okay, I know we've also talked about Pisces. So I think when we were talking about the houses, we were talking about the 12th house, kind of representing that amniotic fluid and that kind of place. But that is that same like Pisces energy. And I feel like it sort of does also, again, it's not a contradiction where I feel like like it doesn't work.
Sure.
But it's really that space, the after death and before birth. It's like this returning to this kind of spiritual, unconscious, unknown place.
Yes.
Where you still like exist as a human in some form, but not like this form. You know, so it starts to get really strange. So I feel like Pisces are sort of like maybe not battling, but sort of grappling or dealing with this really mixed pulls of like birth and death together.
Which, what a crazy place to be.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm straight down in the depths of the death.
Well, see, yes, and that's where, like, Scorpio really is that. And then I feel like Cancer really is more the initial nurturance, mother energy.
Definitely.
And then Pisces is, like, trying to be both of those.
I know, and it's like, I can't.
And it's like, oh, it's so much.
It is so much, because how do you, again, when you're in that space, you're in almost like a different plane. Like, how do you relate that to someone who has no concept of that or doesn't understand that? Like,
or wants to deny that, or is afraid of that.
It's like whatever that phrase is about, like trying to describe the earth to an ant or something like that. There's like that phrase about that. It's this, that's where they're at. They're like, how am I supposed to describe this to explain anything to you about like who I am or like what I'm striving to be, or I don't know. I just think that would be really difficult.
Well, and Pisces is, like you said, striving to be. It's that imagination, that I believe, that ideal, like dreamer, you know, which again can seem very adrift and can seem very sort of like...
It can.
You know, but I don't think it has to be, or that it is automatically. Yeah,
exactly. And I think if you are also a person, no matter what your sign is and everything like that, if you're a person who also is kind of a dreamer and kind of like, you know, wants to believe in things, like you love that because they will get on board with anything.
Yes.
For you.
Even if it's not their vision, if you have a vision and you're like passionate and you're like sharing it and you're like, this is so weird or improbable or crazy, like I don't even know if I can do it. They're like, yes, you can do it.
Yes, you can.
They're like, do it.
I know, which is why like I just think my little Scorpio self is like, oh, thank you.
And finally somebody.
Yeah, because they're like, you're not crazy, you're not too much, you're everything. That's great, that's fantastic. And you're like, thank you.
So much empathy coming from Pisces energy.
Yeah, which again, it's that flip side that can be hard. I mean, imagine having to have that all the time, but also like almost having this sort of like background knowledge that nobody else has, and you're trying to like merge the two of them and make them coexist. Yeah, it's just difficult.
Or even sometimes within themselves, if they haven't fully accepted.
Yeah.
And then they're having that self-denial. And then I think that's why sometimes the Pisces can end up being quite unhappy.
I know.
Because if they're afraid, or their environment that they're raised in, like did not cultivate or allow for that type of energy to be developed in the house or whatever, you know, they can just feel so empty.
I know.
And lost.
So true. And I feel like a little bit of the shadow side, is that Pisces can be a little bit like impressionable, and especially like, you know, depending on like the developmental age and like all these kind of things, but they can be like, and it's not like a weakness. It's not like, oh, because they're gullible or something. It's not about that.
I mean, they could be. It depends.
They could be, but it's not like that describes it. That's like reductionist. It's not just that. Like it's
that's like the very extreme end of that whole continuum.
Yes, exactly. Right. And I guess that exists, you know, but they, because of their ability to empathize with all these different things and to see things from all these different ways, I think they sometimes struggle to figure out where they are unique in that, and they will even listen to other people tell them who they are.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe that's comforting. Because if you really struggle and you don't know, and somebody, as like messed up as it could be, if somebody's giving you some kind of framework and structure and being like, no, this is who you are, this is just what it is, you might be tempted to just be like, okay, like that seems better because...
Yeah, it's reminding me, there's sort of something that I read where it said like, and if I'm not going to do the quote right, it's sort of a paraphrase, but it's something to the effect of like, a Pisces might dream up the religion, but it takes like a Virgo to build a church. And so that Pisces is going to show up in the church and be like, oh. You know?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's really accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, interesting. I want to hear from more Virgos how they feel.
We'll get to those ones.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll be discussing
it's
that.
It's also what you were saying was also just bringing to mind even more of how, and every sign does this, but we're talking about Pisces, how Pisces energy bridges that gap between that very unique Aquarian vision and the very like I am ego of Aries. And Pisces is kind of in there trying to be like, yeah, but you know, there's also everything. And like, where do I actually fit?
Oh my gosh, there's also everything.
I know, there is.
They're like, why is everything a thing? Which is what we say.
I know.
That's like a very Pisces quote. Why is everything a thing?
Why is it though?
I don't know. Ask a Pisces.
They
don't know. And we shouldn't, because they don't need to know everything. That's not their job.
No, I don't want to bother a Pisces with that. Although, if you are a Pisces and you want to answer that, please tell us.
I know.
Yeah.
Man. I feel like Pisces, too, like, they see everything. Like, they're
even when they don't want to.
Even when they don't want to. They're the ultimate observers. Like, they just, they're really good at just kind of, like, and then, like, absorbing all that information and then doing something with it.
Which can also be a problem when they're absorbing so much. Yeah. That they can get run down and tired and need to escape or feel like they're overwhelmed with, like, taking in so much and trying to process so much. So, I mean, I really feel like Pisces need a lot of alone time. And it's interesting because it is such a transcendental energy and this really collective, but you can't be that all the time.
No, you can't.
So they have to, I think, practice really good self-care and
that's such a good point.
Being alone and taking care of themselves first. I think that's really important.
And healthy habits, because I think it can also manifest into some, like, unhealthy escapism.
Exactly. I think, you know, I mean, you could argue in lots of ways that lots of signs are prone to, you know, unhealthy habits or addictions in different ways.
Totally.
But I think in the case of Pisces, it really comes to this type of thing underlying those behaviors. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they exist, if those behaviors exist.
Exactly. Yeah, as much as they're observing, they're also absorbing, and it's a tough place to be.
It is. It's tough, super tough. So that's why I love Pisces.
I know. So, they just make you feel good. They've got that healing water.
And they do. And if there's ever a person that, or if you know, well, I was going to say, if you're a Pisces, you probably already know. But if somehow you didn't know and you were just this person that people would come up to and, like, tell their life story to and try to get, like, empathy from and you didn't know why, maybe you're a Pisces. You know?
Yeah, it's so true. They really do have that vibe.
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of my favorite Pisces, which is, I think, really relevant to mention just as a celebrity or, like, a famous person, is Kurt Cobain.
Oh, yeah. I had written him down, too. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's so, tragically accurate.
Yes. Oh, I know. And I don't even know what else really needs to be said.
I know, not really much.
Yeah. Wow. But I just feel like he really just exemplifies so much of this. And even the struggle of it.
Absolutely.
Too, you know?
And the way, not just who he was and who he embodied, but the way that people feel about him.
Yes, the way that he impacted the world. And obviously that's why we talk about, like, celebrities or famous people, because they have had a larger impact on the world.
Yes.
But even in an unknown Pisces, just a person that is in your life that's not famous, they have that same type of energy and potentially that same type of effect on whatever their world is.
Absolutely. They absolutely do. Yeah, of course. We mention, famous people because it's a frame of reference. And for some reason, they rose to that point in our collective consciousness. We don't know why. We're not the experts on why that happened. I'm sure there's a reason for it.
No, but it's not like, oh, this one sign or another is the only one that can become famous. It's like people become famous for lots of reasons and have lots of different types of impact on the world.
Yes, and bring different energies and why people love them or appreciate them.
Yes,
or hate them.
Exactly. Create whatever reaction that they do. So, I just wanted to mention that person.
Yes, I wrote him down as well. I also wrote Drew Barrymore because I feel like she's got that dreamy essence.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, that a Pisces has.
100%. Yes.
And then, I mean, Steve Jobs.
Oh, yeah. And I guess that's, again, like a very different presentation of that energy. Because you would not, I mean, yes, obviously, visionary, dreamer, but not this like Lulu la, you know?
Like Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, right. Or even, you know, and I don't think Kurt Cobain does that either, but he definitely had this kind of sense of like, everything, you know?
Why is everything a thing?
Why is everything a thing? Like, everything's so heavy. Yeah, so no, I think those are really 3 good examples of, like, the variance.
Oh, yeah.
But still, like, very identifiably that Pisces energy.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fascinating. That part is fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah. It's our favorite word for new sign who dis is fascinating. But
I know.
That is, though.
It is, though. It's appropriate.
Yeah, I think correct. So, too.
I know. So, no, I love that. Those are very good. Are we getting to the point?
You want it?
In new sign who dis?
You want it?
Drum roll. I hate fake drum rolls. I'm not going to do it. Oh, no, you can do it. That's cute. That sounded good. You did that in a different episode,
I did, and I didn't even mean to do it.
I know, and then I was like, are you doing a drum roll?
I was like, and you were like, are you doing, and I'm like, I guess. That's exactly what I was like, I
But it's time to reveal. Time for the big reveal.
Yes. Here we go. I have a big explanation for this
I can't wait. I'm so excited to hear it.
Okay. Pisces.
Yes.
Is.
Yes.
Instagram. Oh. Yeah. Do you want to know why?
It's the only social media that I have. Is that why?
That's part of it. That actually explains it pretty well.
Tell me why.
Okay, so I started thinking about it. And I put a lot of thought into this one, and it makes sense in a very kind of broad way. Okay?
I do think it does make sense already, like as I'm thinking about it.
So where Instagram started, let me take you back. Okay, take a little trip.
Take me back.
Take a little trip. Not quite back all the way to MTV Cribs, but not too far.
How far are we going back?
We're going back to 2010. Okay. It's not that far back. Actually, it is kind of, but okay, we're gonna just like pretend. We're gonna pretend like that was 5 years ago because that's how I choose to think about time.
Yeah, sure.
And a Pisces would like let me do that. So
yeah, time is nothing to a Pisces.
Nothing. They're
time
like,
is nothing.
Okay, that's fine. 2010 was 5 years ago. Whatever you want to think.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. Doesn't matter.
Exactly. So we're just gonna go with that.
Okay, 2010.
But, okay, so 2010 is when Instagram started, and I don't know if you remember it that well. But in the beginning, and I do remember it somewhat, in the beginning, where it started was, it was purely a visual medium.
Yeah.
You would post an image, and this was new because Twitter was words, Facebook was essentially like statuses, MySpace still actually existed. So everything was mostly just like phrases and sort of words that you were sharing. Instagram changed that, and it was images, and they were in like a 1-to-1 aspect ratio because that's like what the iPhone did at the time, and you couldn't do anything different. And kind of the vibe was that they were these sort of heavily filtered, like dreamy, vague images. People would post like a blurry picture of like a bottle and then put like a couple of words like it's Thursday or just something like that. Or like it's a feeling, or just like put a little like lyric or something like that, and you'd be like, what does that mean? And that's what it was. And it really, like, the essence of it was to capture kind of like the everyday essence, right? Like these everyday moments, like share these with people, but it's like the simple, you know, little moments that kind of make us all one.
Yeah, and that like add up and just make your whole life in the end.
And then make it this like beautiful but imperfect, but like almost like a dream, and like, is this real? But we don't really know, but like maybe it is, and we're not sure, and is this really you? And it was more like observing and less being observed in the beginning, because people would post pictures of their food. Like this is where that that engendered like those like food pictures and stuff like that.
That's true. It's true.
So that's where it started. And one of the founders that created the app said, images can unite people across borders, cultures, and generations.
Very
and
Piscean.
now, very Piscean. I mean, Instagram is a behemoth. I can't even really describe what Instagram is. Like, it's an entity. Like, if you want to do anything, you have to have an Instagram. If you want to commodify anything you're doing, you have to have an Instagram. It's the way people access the internet. It's the way you get your news.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because obviously, as I'm sure everyone knows, like, Instagram's now owned by, Meta, which is Facebook, too.
Exactly.
But they're so different.
They are.
Like, Facebook and Instagram are so different.
They still really are. And even though Instagram sort of started in that place, and now it's very different, and we've had all these different kind of evolutions of things, and like stories and all this stuff on the platform, it still retains like that quality. And it was this vision that these people had, and it's revolutionized social media.
That's true.
And so I mean, it's good and bad and everything in between, and it brings all of that together. And one of the founders is a Pisces.
Of course. So, I'm glad that you knew that, because in my head I was like wondering, but I wasn't going to ask you in case you didn't know. I was just going to let you go.
One's a Pisces. Guess the sign of the other one.
I mean, Aquarius?
No. Capricorn.
Oh, well, I got to have the hard worker.
There you go.
No, couldn't be an Aquarius.
No,
they'd never get it done.
No. Yep. A Capricorn and a Pisces, they figured it out. Yeah. And they created Instagram.
Actually makes a lot of sense. Very excellent work. Very well researched.
Right? Don't you agree?
Yes. No, I do. It makes perfect sense. And that is, I think, the longest explanation we've had for any of these.
I really do. And because it needs to be. It needed to be.
It needed to be. Yeah. Because you really have to, like, bring it all in.
You do. They do. And so we had to. And it's a lot of energy, but that's what it is.
I love it. I feel very satisfied with this Pisces conversation.
Same. I feel like we did it justice.
I think we did too. And I hope all you Pisces out there can agree with that.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah. I mean, you have to appreciate it because we love you guys.
Yeah, we loved on you a lot.
Yeah, we loved on you a lot. And so I guess that wraps up our new sign Hoodis Pisces edition.
There is no more to say.
No. So everybody out there, just remember, we love everybody in all signs, or at least we don't not love you because of your sign, right. And especially if you're a Pisces.
Dumb Witch Club is written and produced by us, Ashley Sidner,
and Jackie Gerard at the Dumb Witch Clubhouse in Orange County, California.
Produced and edited by Matt Heinemeyer, creative director and culture consultant Violet Turner.
Original music by Ashley Sidner. And look us up on all your favorite social media platforms, including Patreon.
Until next time, stay witchy, friends.
And stay dumb.